Okay, Bernie, I need to have you listen to what I've got to say here for just a second. Look down here to the right, please. If you'll look down here to the right, you'll notice we've got some controls. If by chance you drop something down in here, I don't want you to try to retrieve it. I will get it back to you. Also, my arm is going to be moving in this area throughout the flight, so keep that in mind. I won't try not to bump you, but things happen occasionally, so please don't be infringed upon. Where are you and John from? Where? Okay. How about Marilyn and Michael? Where are you folks from? San Diego. Okay, folks, my name is Rich. Welcome aboard. We'll be off and on our way after we give you a little bit of a safety briefing here.
We kindly ask for your attention as we give the required safety briefing before takeoff. There is no smoking allowed on the aircraft. Your seat belts must be worn during the flight. To fasten the belt, place the silver end of the belt into the buckle. To remove the belt, lift up on the buckle. The emergency exits are the doors that you entered. In case of emergency, to open the doors, push the handle on the rear of the door down. If you are sitting in the front seats, you can remove the plastic piece on the lower front of the door and pull the red or orange handle back, and the door will fall off of the aircraft. Unless there is an emergency, do not touch any of the handles. The fire extinguisher is located on the floor to the right of the pilot. To operate it, lift it from the brackets on the floor. Remove the round pin from the handle and point towards the base of the fire. Since this aircraft may be flying over water, you are wearing life vests. In the event of a water landing, first remove your headsets. Pull the tab on the front of the life vest over your head. Do not inflate the vest until you are outside of the aircraft. Pulling the red tag on each side of the vest does this, or you can blow into the red tubes. Located behind the front seat and also next to the front seat are the safety briefing cards that show all the safety facts and instruction about the aircraft. Please feel free to look at these cards. We do ask that you do not remove the cards for souvenirs. Also located with the briefing cards are the white discomfort bags. Beneath the left rear seat, there is also a first aid kit and survival kit. Later, after the landing, when you leave the aircraft, remember to stay away from the rear of the helicopter and exit to the front. Your pilot has received his takeoff clearance and we will soon be in the air. No leila inanea mai. Sit back, enjoy the music and our beautiful island. Ahui ho.
Now, the first thing I'd like to bring your attention to is the overhead air vents on board the aircraft. We're going to ask that you not shut these vents off. The reason is that the aircraft heats up very quickly, and because of that, some people become nauseous. We certainly don't want to go there. So readjust the airflow, just don't shut them off. Additionally, you'd probably like to know a little something about your pilot. I've been flying for over 37, going on 38 years now. In that period of time, coming up on 16,000 hours of accident-free, violation-free flight time. Spent a couple of tours in Vietnam, starting back in 1967 through 1968 with the 1st Air Cav Division. Second tour was 1969 through 1970 with the 1st Aviation Brigade, flying those large tandem rotor helicopters referred to as Chinooks. Managed to make it through that little fracas with just a few scrapes and scratches, didn't leave anything behind. I was pretty happy about that. I do come from an aviation family. My father was amongst the first captains of a little airline out here in the Hawaiian Islands dating back to 1929. That was Inter-Island Airways, part of the Inter-Island Steamship Navigation Company, who established their business just 2 years after Charles A. Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic Ocean for the first time, flying the Spirit of St. Louis. Remarkably, those folks are still here, still poking holes in the sky. Shortly after their inception, Inter-Island became Hawaiian Airlines. It's the oldest air carrier in the Pacific. Currently celebrating their 70th, going into their 71st anniversary of service to the Hawaiian Islands. Now, the area off to the left in the distance is what's known as the Kohala district of the Big Island. We'll be visiting that area a little later in the flight. This is also where you're going to find the Waimea-Kapwela area, nestled in the oldest section of this 4,028 square mile island. It is the heart of the famous Parker Ranch, the largest cattle ranch in the United States at 250,000 acres, and is dedicated to raising 50 to 60,000 head of cattle annually. Somebody asks you where the beef is, you just tell them Parker Ranch. To the right side of the aircraft is the mountain known as Hualalai. It's a dormant shield-type volcano, last erupting around 1800. Mountain stands at 8,271 feet above sea level, and we point out it has the potential to erupt again in the future, and of course that makes you wonder why they put the town of Kona right beneath it. Over to the right front, way out there in the distance, is the mountain known as Mauna Loa, Long Mountain in Hawaiian. It is the second tallest mountain in the Hawaiian chain, as well as the largest active volcano in the world. It stands at 13,677 feet above sea level, last erupted in March of 1984. The flows from that eruption lasted for 22 days, traveled some 27 miles, and came to within 5 miles of the city of Hilo before being brought to a halt through the efforts of Madame Pele, the goddess of the fire and the volcano. This road that we're coming up on is the Mamalahoa Highway, numerically Highway 190, coming out of the Waimea-Kapwela area and traveling across the foothills here into the western flank of Hualalai, the back road to Kona. Now, Mauna Loa is the most massive mountain in the world. It contains over 19,000 cubic miles of material that, remarkably, to put it into better perspective for you, is enough material to build a wall around the entire United States, to include the state of Hawaii, half-mile wide and a mile tall. So definitely a lot of rock. The mountain over to the left front is that of Mauna Kea, White Mountain in Hawaii, because of the annual snowfall. It is the tallest mountain in the Hawaiian chain, as well as being a dormant volcano, last erupting back in some 4,000 years ago. The mountain stands at 13,796 feet above sea level and is also considered to be, technically, the tallest mountain in the world. If you take a correct measurement of that mountain summit to its base, it is 32,296 feet. Reluctantly and only in passing would we mention Mount Everest. It's only the tallest mountain above sea level at 29,037 feet. Mauna Kea is the premier location of the world to place an observatory. The reason for this, quite simple. This mountain stands well above the clouds in the nighttime hours unless we have a major storm. And that gives the astronomers a clear and concise view of the heavens, not hampered by any kind of refracted light coming from surrounding light sources, from towns, villages, or the only city on the island, Hilo. We also point out that the observatories are numerous up here, and they do have the famous Keck Observatory located here, as well as the most technologically advanced land-based telescope in the world. The area off the nose between Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa is referred to as the Saddle. This is where you find the infamous Saddle Road, the road that your rental car agencies ask you not to drive with their vehicles. Very dangerous road, especially on the western side, narrow 2-lane down to 1 lane. And we do point out, there's no telephones up here, folks. Things happen, and mechanical or otherwise, you can be a very long time waiting for help to arrive. So keep that in mind if you're so inclined. It's also the home of the Pahakaloa Military Training Area. This is where the National Guard and Reserve units of our military, to include active duty forces from all branches of the service, come to train throughout the course of the year. And over there to the left front is the Bradshaw Army Airfield. And you'd be surprised at the type of aircraft that are able to land on that little teeny tiny airfield. Little hills that you see up in here are cinder cones. These cinder cones, you will find, are created as magma comes out from deep inside the mantle of the planet, seeking out cracks, fissures, and small spots, soft spots, in the structures of these mountains. When such a location is located, the magma punches through, shoots up into the atmosphere, and the volcanic activity drops back to the ground as cinder cones, lava cinder cones, as magma changes to lava when entering the atmosphere. Now these little hills differ from volcanic vents in that volcanic vents do produce lava flows, where cinder cones do not. their shield lay flat on the ground from a great distance. These mountains do produce two types of lava. The first is what's known as A'a. This will be the very massive dark brown, earthy toned looking lava here in front of us. It's usually light brown or light to dark brown in color. Is a type of lava that is a surface flow only and does not go great distances. Flows usually around 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. The other type of lava is what's known as Hawaiian, smooth and sinewy, usually a light to dark gray in color. Will flow very quickly, much the same as water in a river. Travels great distances in the conduit or tubing that it creates, and will usually flow at some 2000 to 2400 degrees Fahrenheit. This type of lava is capable of speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, and as it does cool, you will find that it does have a tendency to make a change to the A'a form of lava as it passes through the 1200 degree temperature. This area that's in front of us is the small arms ranges for the individual military personnel and their weaponry. I'm sorry. How long does it take to get that way, or how does it? It sets its roots. Any little crack that it could get into builds it up. It takes a very, very long time for vegetation to come into these areas. Pardon me? No. Not in areas such as this. You will find that down in the hotel areas they have to get bulldozers, push all of this around, then come in with topsoil, put a good layer down, and plant the vegetation. Even then, it takes quite a while for the material that's surface to break down. Most of that breakdown is through oxidation, so therefore it takes a very long time. In our lifetime, you won't see anything growing here. Pardon me? Sure, it's one of the nicest soils to grow fruits and vegetables in, just that it takes a long time to get there. After all, you know, all of this is coming from inside the mantle of the planet, molten, and that's what we base our own lives upon, is the minerals that are contained in the core of this planet. I'm sorry? Yeah, like turquoise smooth type, and the ah form is the coarse and granular. How's the temperature? Is everybody comfortable? Just a little bit. We will be starting a descent off of the mountain here. As we do, I'm going to ask that you all clear your ears frequently throughout the descent. If you experience any kind of extreme difficulty, then by all means let me know and we'll try to help you out. There's 3 ways to clear your ears. The first is to yawn, swallow, and joggle your jaw. Chewing gum does work very well, or the Valsalva method, which is merely pinching your nose and blowing gently through your nose to clear your ears. If you have problems, once again let me know. Don't begin that process while we're still not descending. You pressurize your ears as we're still going up, you could get a blockage. separate volcanoes, separate of each other, no interactivity whatsoever. There has been only a couple of times in history where these two volcanoes have actually, in fact, erupted simultaneously. One of those times, 1984. Current activity with Kilauea started January 3rd, 1983. It has been the longest and the safest recorded eruption in history, entering into its 55th episode. 18 years, soon to be 19 years of activity. The only time the volcanoes do become extremely violent is when they become involved with large amounts of water, such as erupting up out of the ocean, or if we have activity invaded by water. Such was the case of the caldera here back in 1924, creating the Hawaiian crater. We also have people living in close to the volcanic activity here at Volcano Village. That's where my uncle lives in retirement from state government. It's also where we have the Volcano Golf Course, Vineyard and Winery, Volcano Lodge, this particular location, where such notable people such